You're listening to the Dispassionate ADF Veteran's Voice. Each episode is generated and narrated using artificial intelligence, specifically Google's Notebook LM, drawing from official records like the Royal Commission Final Report, government strategies, inquiry reports, and lived experience accounts. The narration is delivered in American accents, as that is all that is available in this emerging AI tool. Don't let that distract you. This isn't the voice of any one veteran or organisation. It's Australia's veterans' story, told through evidence, not opinion. Here are your hosts.
Welcome to the deep dive. You've shared an incredible stack of sources with us, all centered on, well, a really crucial topic: the whole journey of veteran well-being in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely.
From those early historical promises right through to today's challenges and what we're looking at for the future. Our mission today is really to unpack what supporting those who've served actually means.
Exactly. And what's really striking when you look at these documents together, from the concise history of REPAT right up to the recent Royal Commission report and the suicide prevention strategy, is just how much the understanding or maybe the approach to veteran needs has evolved.
A profound evolution, you could say.
Absolutely. So today we'll try and pull out the most impactful insights from all this material you've gathered.
Okay, let's dive in. Thinking about that journey, let's look at the concise history of REPAT in Australia. What's sort of the first big takeaway there about Australia's initial promise?
Well, it really crystallizes around Prime Minister Billy Hughes back in 1917, that famous quote, "When you come back, we will look after you."
Right.
And crucially, it wasn't just talk. It directly led to the Repatriation Act, the department, in 1918. The big insight, realizing, especially after things like Gallipoli, that just relying on voluntary efforts, well, it wasn't going to cut it.
Not for the scale of need.
Not at all. So that promise, even though it was initially focused very much on, say, physical wounds, it set a really important precedent.
That's a powerful starting point. So looking across the sources, how did that commitment, that promise, how did it change over the decades? Especially thinking about the DVA, the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Yeah, that's a fascinating thread. The old REPAT department became the DVA in 1976. And it wasn't just rebranding. It signaled a real shift.
Shift how?
From being, the main provider of everything to being more of a purchaser of services, plus embracing technology, trying to look at all the domains of well-being.
So much broader than just the physical.
Much broader, a long way from just dealing with the immediate wounds of war. It shows how the understanding of looking after them got way more complex.
Okay, now, something that really grabbed me reading through these was the discussion around the human cost. It's pretty confronting. What were the most striking details from reports like the AIHW suicide monitoring or the Royal Commission final report?
It is confronting. It's heartbreakingly stark, actually. These reports just lay it bare. Serving and ex-serving ADF members face significantly higher suicide risks than the general population.
Significantly higher.
Yes. And the Royal Commission, well, didn't mince words. It pointed directly to systemic failings by governments, by defense, by DVA over time.
Systemic failings. Wow.
And something often missed, but highlighted brilliantly, one of the journal articles you shared, the one on ADF women veterans' experiences, is the sheer pervasiveness of sexual abuse, harassment, discrimination women faced.
That's incredibly important to bring out.
Absolutely. There's this quote in the paper, something like, "I don't know any women who have been in defense as long as I have who don't have a story about sexual harassment." Yeah.
That's powerful. And it seems like it's not just the experiences during service, but even the systems meant to help afterwards can sometimes add to the distress. How do the sources show that?
That's such a critical point. The Royal Commission, for instance, reported that for some veterans, the DVA claims process itself could be as traumatic as the original injury.
The claims process.
Yeah, just the complexity, the delays, the feeling of having to fight the system. It echoes what some UNSW research found, too, that the whole reintegration system is often predominantly reactive, not proactive.
Waiting for problems rather than preventing them.
Exactly. And this contributes to what many veterans describe as a loss of identity and worth after leaving service. That's a deep wound, not a physical one.
So with all these challenges laid bare, what are the sources saying about improving support? There seems to be a clear shift towards, well, different kinds of approaches.
Definitely a shift. More holistic, more proactive, more inclusive approaches. You see it in the strategies like the DVA and Defense Veteran Transition Strategy or the Family Wellbeing Strategy.
Family well-being. Okay.
Yes, emphasizing that transition isn't just about the veteran. It's a journey for the whole family. And a really interesting insight comes from the Royal Commission's workshop findings on Recommendation 87.
What did they suggest?
They call for a new, independent body, one that's fundamentally trauma-informed, culturally competent, inclusive, and they really champion the idea of veterans and families hubs. They call them a game changer.
Hubs for community connection.
Exactly. Bringing support into the community, making it accessible.
That focus on community and family really does sound like a significant shift. And I noticed some sources also touched on broader societal things affecting well-being.
Yeah, they did. The National Mental Health Commission's strategy, for example, really highlights the concept of social and emotional well-being, particularly for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. It's foundational.
Right.
And then there's this framework from Victoria about place-based approaches, basically community-led efforts, working collaboratively, moving at the speed of trust.
Speed of trust. I like that.
It means recognizing that well-being isn't just in your head. It's about bringing the social back into the biopsychosocial model. Acknowledging things like income, housing, social support, justice, they all play a massive role. Sometimes the social part gets overlooked.
And here's something that probably resonates with policymakers. That KPMG Investing to Save report. It makes a strong economic case, doesn't it?
A very strong case. It basically says proactive mental health support isn't just the right thing to do. It pays back massively.
Yeah.
Over $8 return for every dollar spent on prevention and early intervention.
$8, that's huge.
It is. And it underscores what you see across these sources.
Yeah.
A real commitment now to using data, leveraging peer support, and constantly trying to figure out how Australia can better meet that solemn and binding promise. It's about getting smarter, using evidence.
So this deep dive, looking across all these sources you shared, it really paints a picture of a complex, constantly evolving landscape for veteran support in Australia.
Absolutely.
From that initial promise by Billy Hughes, through all the modern challenges to these detailed future strategies, it's clear supporting veterans means looking at, well, everything. Their lives, their families, their communities.
Exactly. And I think what really stands out, for me anyway, is the value being placed now on lived experience. It's everywhere in these strategies.
Hearing directly from veterans and families.
Precisely. That push for a truly veteran-centric system, combined with those place-based community solutions, and importantly, a willingness to tackle the systemic failings. It feels like there's a real opportunity for transformative change. It's about partnership.
Reflecting on all this, it makes me wonder, given Australia's really comprehensive approach now, especially focusing on the whole person, including families led by communities, could this actually serve as a kind of blueprint for other countries facing similar issues?
That's a powerful thought.
How lessons learned here might help veterans elsewhere. Something to consider.
You've just heard a conversation built and presented entirely by AI from official sources. No speculation, no shortcuts. From Royal Commission findings to lived experience, we're unpacking the veteran ecosystem. If this episode helped you make sense of the system or gave voice to something you've felt but couldn't name, consider subscribing and liking the channel. That way, you'll be notified when the next episode drops. Send a link to a mate if you think they might benefit from synthesizing the massive information too. We'll upload at least one a week, each tackling a major issue with clarity, dignity, and zero spin. There will be 10 main episodes and many more spin-offs. This isn't just a podcast. It's clarity that is easy to consume and will help to mobilize those who really care.